All right. Tonight's the yard site of Yehuda's mother, Zelachaim, for Moras Chana Chaya Basab Yosef, Shem Shaban Aliyah. With the better for you, for your family, for all good B'Sech Chal Yisrael. Chaim. Tonight's not only the yard site of Yehuda's mother, has a special day for each of us and all of us, because today is the day that the Rabbi Ashab made the Yeshiva of Tomchei Temimim. This Yeshiva isn't just a school like any other school, but as we all see, since the Yeshiva was made, how the students of this Yeshiva literally changed the way the whole world looks. There will be graduates of this Yeshiva in every city and country in the world. Torah and Judaism flourished in places which were before like deserts regarding Judaism. And the Rebbe said that we shouldn't just look at this yeshiva as something that's unique to a certain place, a certain location where there's young students studying, but every Jewish home is a place that's similar to the yeshiva Tomchei Temimim, similar to that yeshiva. So in that spirit, I'm going to share with you a talk the previous Rebbe gave on the 45th anniversary of the yeshiva Tomchei Temimim. Previous Rebbe gave this talk in America in the year 1942 on the 15th of El, which was the 45th anniversary since the yeshiva was established in the top nation of Zion. The 45th anniversary was 1942. The previous Rebbe was already then in America. So before getting into the words of the previous Rebbe, just it's for Hasidim, and not just for Hasidim, for the Jewish people. This day is a pivotal day in history. It's a day when before this yeshiva was made, there was in Russia the Obsektia, the KGB section of the KGB, which was connected to the obliterating Judaism, which was run by Jews, was very successful in destroying all of Judaism and in Russia. And the Rebbe Ashab made this yeshiva for the purpose that the students, he had prophecy. He made the yeshiva. He knew that there would be people that would try to eradicate Judaism. And the purpose of the yeshiva was to keep Judaism flourishing in Russia under Stalin, in the hardest of conditions. And his students in this yeshiva, every student had a grade. Some students were Aleph, top students. Some students were Dal, means the worst students. Interesting thing is that the Dal, the worst students, they were the ones who it was easiest for them to show up in the hard times and to teach Torah on the ground. Because if you were an Aleph, you were a certain way of serving Hashem, hard to switch. If you were a Dal, if you weren't like such a good student, so when the yeshiva switched from being above the ground to being underground and doing all kinds of crazy stuff to keep Torah alive, it was a lot easier. But because the essence of the yeshiva, is creating something called the Tamim. What's a Tamim mean? Rabbi Ashab said a Tamim means anachas atzmusay. Anachas atzmusay means you put yourself on the side. You put yourself on the side for the sake of whatever has to get done. So there was a time when they dedicated themselves to Torah and to prayers and all that, and in a way above ground in the yeshiva. And then there's the way that it was after Stalin came to power and the yeshiva had to go underground. The students had to teach Torah in all kinds of impossible conditions throughout Soviet Russia. The Rebbe Ashab added another thing why he's making yeshiva. He said not only is this for the sake of keeping Torah alive, to battle against those who want to destroy God and destroy Torah, but also he said there'll be a time when there'll be people who believe in God, believe in Torah, but they're cold in their belief in the coming of Mashiach. Their belief in the coming of Mashiach is cold. So he said the purpose of this yeshiva, that the students of this yeshiva should fight the wars of Hashem in 2 generations. One generation, if their goal is to keep Torah alive at a time of when people are trying to destroy the Torah. Another generation, people who believe in Torah officially, but they're cold in their Judaism and they're cold in especially in their belief in the coming of Mashiach. And that's the role of the yeshiva. The role of the yeshiva is that they Rebbe called it a prophecy. When the Rebbe Shab didn't say it's a prophecy, but the Rebbe talked about this talk and he said no one would imagine when Rabbi Rashab said this talk, there could be a Jew who believes in Torah and God and Judaism, doesn't believe in Mashiach. How could that be? The Rebbe said the purpose of Yeshiva is to fight the wars of God, to spread the belief of coming Mashiach among all the Jewish people. Anyways, getting back to the previous Rebbe's words, what he said in 1942, on the 45th anniversary of since Yeshiva was established. Previous Rebbe said that really he should talk for a great length if he wants to give a description of the Yeshiva, but because the Torah says that we give great honor to Kavod Abriya, Sticha the Tzibura, you shouldn't speak too long because there are other speakers as well. Therefore, the previous Rebbe said, I just want to give a short invitation to this event, and instead of giving a whole deep rundown of all the words that his father said about this yeshiva, instead the previous Rebbe said, I'm just going to give a short introduction and an invitation to the celebration. So what was the invitation? So the previous Rebbe said like this: I'm going to tell you something my father told me. My father, Rabbi Rashab, said the previous Rebbe spoke to me on many occasions for 25 years, told me stories and things I need to know for many years, for 25 years, and I wrote it all down. And one of the things he told me was that he visited his father in the year Tomchei, and his father told him something then in Shvat, Tomchei, something he heard from his father in the 18th of El and Tomchei. And he heard that Tzemach Tzedek told the Rebbe Marash something that he heard from his grandfather, from the Alter Rebbe in the year Tavkuf Samach Aleph. And the Alter Rebbe shared with the at that time Tavkuf Samach Aleph something that he heard from Zishim Magid that the Zishim Magid said 50 years before Tavkuf Lamadalid, that he heard from Baal Shem Tov in Tavkuf Tezvav. We're talking about something which was passed down Rebbe to Rebbe to Rebbe. What's the point of saying all this history? The previous Rebbe then says in the Torah, man walks with an image. And he said what that means is that you walk, whenever you say over a word of a tzaddik, you have to picture the tzaddik is right there. The tzaddik whose words you're quoting, to picture the tzaddik is right there talking to you. So the previous Rebbe said the purpose of me saying where this teaching comes from my father, or from Mizrah Barash, or from Tzemach Tzedek, or from the Alter Rebbe, or from Zitcha Magid, who is shared what he heard from Baal Shem Tov. The purpose of all this is that we should know that these tzaddikim, by mentioning their names, they're here with us, blessing us at this occasion. What was the teaching? The teaching was like this: the Alter Rebbe moved to the city of Liadi and had then a yeshiva, and they had a celebration for the beginning of this yeshiva. And at the celebration, there was hundreds of chassidim there, and the family of the Alter Rebbe was there. And at the celebration, the Alter Rebbe said the teaching that he heard from the Magid, who heard from Baal Shem Tov. What was the teaching? It says in the Gemara, anyone who's involved in studying Torah, his property is successful. You learn Torah, or actually the words he used was, you're oisik b'Torah. Oisik b'Torah doesn't mean you learn Torah. Oisik b'Torah means that you're interested in spreading the Torah. It's like a business. You treat Torah like a business. You care about it, and you put yourself into it, and you want to go out and you don't stop thinking about it. Like a person who's involved in business, they don't stop thinking about their business all the time, and they share whatever they can. So it says in the Gemara, if you're involved in the studying of Torah, your property will be successful. Said the Alter Rebbe, named Baal Shem Tov. What is the property of a Jew? The property of a Jew is his heart and his mind, his intellect and emotions. So the Alter Rebbe said that when you study Torah, you're not just studying Torah, but you're involved in Torah, the chas matzlichin, your property, your intellect, your feelings are successful. Let me explain like this. Avraham Avinu was a knowledgeable Torah scholar, and he was a man of fear, and he feared God. He kept the whole Torah. And yet, what's the reason that God made a covenant with Avraham? What was the reason? Why was Avraham so precious to Hashem that Hashem made a covenant with him? What was so special about Avraham Avinu? What was special about Avraham Avinu was not his Torah genius, and not his fact he was God-fearing. It was the fact that Avraham Avinu was matzah says of that Avraham's heart was faithful to Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe said it was the simplicity, it was the sincerity, it was a faith of Avraham Avinu that is the property of every Jew. And every Jew who's involved in spreading Torah, they are also, their property, their sincerity, their faith is granted success in the merit of the study of Torah. It says about Moshe Rabbeinu that the Torah is called the Torah of Moshe, the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu, even though it's Hashem's Torah. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu had a sacrifice for Torah. So too the previous Rebbe said the Baal Shem Tov, and the Magim, the Alter Rebbe, and all the Rabbeim, they had sacrificed, not just to spread the teachings of Torah, but rather in order to plant into the hearts of all of their Hasidim that they should have fear of Hashem and have Ahavas Yisrael for each other. So in the merit of their sacrifice, said the previous Rebbe, they were successful in making this yeshiva, which has affected thousands and thousands of Jews, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of Jews all over the world for now over 100 years. So the previous Rebbe said we have to know that they are also participating in this event tonight, and whatever has been accomplished in their merit. And as the previous Rebbe said, I want to give over in the name of the Baal Shem Tov that the Baal Shem Tov, his bracha to all those who are students in this yeshiva and all those who support this yeshiva. And as the Rebbe said, it's not just those who are in this yeshiva, but it's every Jew has to make their home to be like Temimim. And therefore tonight we receive the bracha upon Baal Shem Tov and the Magid and all the Rebbeim, because we're all part of this yeshiva. And then the previous Rebbe said, thank you, Hashem, for reaching this occasion through all the work that was done in the 45 years since Yeshiva was established, and especially the previous Rebbe said, last 20 years before this talk of the previous Rebbe in 1942, last 20 years since his father passed away, the previous Rebbe said it was especially a hard time, and yet it was tremendous success. And the previous Rebbe concluded that my father made the yeshiva in a very orderly way, and the yeshiva should carry the same light that was in the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol. The breastplate of the Kohen Gadol carried the Urim V'Tumim. The Urim V'Tumim had its unique quality of giving light and giving perfection. So the Yeshiva Temimim is a place that illuminates and grants perfection. So the previous Rebbe said, I want to just give over what the Alter Rebbe, what the Rebbe Rashab said when he made the yeshiva. The Rebbe Rashab said like this: may it be Hashem's will that the Shechina should rest in the work of our hands. The Rebbe Rashab said when he made the yeshiva at that time, now it's over 300 years. The Rebbe Rashab said when he made the yeshiva, it's 199 years since the birth of Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov was born on a Wednesday. On a Wednesday was a day that Hashem put the luminaries in the sky, the sun and the moon. And so to the Rebbe Rashab said that by creating the yeshiva, Temimim, he is putting the luminaries in the sky. He's creating light in the world that will give light to the entire world. And so as we see that this light is continuing from year to year, from week to week, and day to day. So l'chaim, we should all take inspiration this day and bring this home to our homes. As Rebbe said, each home has to be mirrored in that sense, to be a place of where Nigla is learned, the revealed parts of Torah is learned, the intervention of Torah is learned, the place of prayer. L'chaim evrachim. It's really all of our birthdays tonight, because this is the birthday of Temimim. Really, in a way, this is the birthday of all of us. This is the day that the Rebbe Rashab gave us. We're getting all this great brachas from all the Rabbeim.